All right, Nazarene Essene Faithus, brother. Thank you. Thanks for joining me, brother. Ah, yes. Mahalia. All right. Good to see y'all. All right. Let me fix my screen here so I can get started. All right. I kept thinking about what you were saying, Mahalia, about the connectedness of all things. I can't tell you how well said that was. That really sums up a lot. That really sums up a lot. The connectedness of all things. Let's see, brethren, bear with me while I get my screens set up here. Let's see. Let me get my screens together here. All right. Okay. Just down, move that over there. Let me find the laws so I can scroll that. All right. The Book of Escra. Move this over. All right. Let me say, Mahalia makes one look at others as your brother and sister. Yeah. Yeah, the creator. I mean, it only makes sense. We have a common creator that would make the rest of us related. You would think it would be simple to understand, but evidently you look at the division that's in the world today and we just don't get it. But I hope that I read the reading, I hope it blesses your soul. And also, I found something else that I'm going to share on in the near future as I study it. The people called the GHANS, the GANs. I'm going to go into that a little bit on my video as soon as I get myself set up here. Very interesting. Very interesting because I believe that's talking about us. I'm not sure, but I just found out about them today, really, in the OAHPSE. I think y'all gonna like it. Okay, so here's the part where I like to scroll it a little bit. Let me get started. My video. Yep, we're all a unit, really. All right. All right, brethren. Thank you for joining me. My name is Shaikwab. I'm Yisrael. Welcome to my channel where I just try to be a light, meaning I try to share things that I believe the Creator's given me to share with you. I like to share um, my screen here. Let's see. Doesn't want, will it work? There we go. Oh, let me start over again. Okay, there we go. All right. My name is Shaikwab. I'm Yisrael. Welcome to my channel. I'm a faithist, a brother who's simply I'm just pretty dedicated. I am a brother who's dedicated to trying to learn the will of the Creator. I believe that we have a Creator. I believe that He creates all things. I believe that He wants us to learn of Him, to do His will. I think that He wants all the best things for His children whom He calls life. Anything with life in it is a child of the Creator. And we're in a reality now where there are those who they are sensitive to the Creator, and maybe others that are not so sensitive to the Creator. But at some point, it's given to everybody to elevate, mature in your spirit. It's like the Creator is saying, you're going to at some point want to come home, in essence. You're going to realize that the carnal, the physical, that it cannot give you, it can't fill that God-sized hole in your spirit. I think that it's meant that way, especially in this reality. It's like, it's a lot of mystery and it's a lot of imbalance. And I think it's meant to get you to always try to learn about the Creator, why things are the way they are. And I love it personally. I mean, I believe that we are in a situation where we are witnessing that we can't govern ourselves. We're in a situation where if you're looking around and you see what's going on, we can't govern ourselves. We good at killing one another, murdering, and uh, all kinds of lawlessness. It don't seem like we're getting any better. And I think the Creator is showing us that unless we learn to subscribe to His word, to His law of light, and we just can't make it. We just never going to be able to make it. And so, welcome to my channel. I'm, like I said, a faithist where I like to share from the OAHPSE Bible. And I believe it's my life's work. I have to be careful saying that because when I was a Hebrew Israelite, then I believe that was my life's work as well. And then I found out that I was on the wrong road, and I learned that spirituality is just like your physical body. You you may you grow, your mind changes, your spirit changes, your education changes, your maturity changes. It's the same way when you talk about the Creator. It's like in the Gospel of Thomas, they asked Jesus Christ, they said, what is the kingdom of heaven? And he said, rest and movement. Remember that? In the Gospel of Thomas, he said it was rest and movement. Now, I don't refer to Jesus Christ like I used to because I believe that he's a source of a great, great, great deception, at least part of the way he's pictured. I believe he was a narrative, not a real person. I believe that he was used by false gods to deceive. And that's why this channel is not for everybody. One of the things that's taboo is to talk about person's religion being suspect. And that's why I I don't recommend this channel. I'm really kind of glad it keeps a low viewership. I mean, that reminds me anyway of Faithless anyway, how the creator basically said we were going to be obscure, we're going to be very few in number. So I'm very comfortable with that because I kind of like flying under the radar, although it ain't going to be that way for long. It ain't going to be that way for long. I know that. I know that the creator, he said that the OAHPSE, that the law of light of the creator, it was going to cover the earth. He said he was going to do away with the beast kingdom. That's religion. He's in the process. People, even people who don't even subscribe to the OAHPSE Bible, who are not faithists, they punch in all kinds of holes in Christianity. I mean, it's like watching a man getting the hell beat out of him to where he can't even fight back. That's what's going on spiritually right now. The curtain is being lifted. I mean, the curtain is really being. It's like it's an amazing thing to see. All kind of holes getting punched into the Bible. It's like a gang break. So far as the revelations coming out, turn on YouTube, video here, video there, talking about the authenticity of the manuscripts, the contradictions, problems with the Apostle Paul, problems with the councils that put the documents together, talking about problems with the source material, problems with the compilations agreed upon by the Nicene Council and that other council, problems with the uh, what is it? What is it called? I forget what it's called. Where uh, the Romans they basically had a lot to do with the compilation of the scriptures, and it shows in their ethnic bias, their cultural bias that the New Testament documents were written with. Experts are starting to point that out. It boils down to one thing, man. It really boiled down to one thing, man. You can't trump the creator. You can't. You might get away with it for a little while, but you can't. Hey, Jamia, with the head wrap, sister. Good to see you. Good to see you. I still got a grudge against you though. You went to Chuck E. Cheese's. I didn't. Don't think I forgot that. You didn't share any. So you on thin ice, sister. But the creator, he teaching, man, that it don't matter. It don't, homie, brother. Fritz, Fritz. I was practicing your name this weekend. I don't like Fritz with the L, brother. I don't like that one. I like FWRITZ. I like that pronunciation better. Fritz. Hey, homie, and you got your cinnamon tea? Let me go ahead and join you in the sip. Man. Mm, that cinnamon, man. That cinnamon tea, man. I mean, the wound on my foot, my left foot, is just closing like crazy, man. It ain't no coincidence since I started drinking this stuff. Also, putting meta honey on your wound too, that helps too. That does help a lot. But it's something with the cinnamon tea, man. I'm telling you, if you got a wound, I drink it every day. I drink it every day, Jamia. I'm telling you, man, it's something to this stuff. It's something I can't explain it. You know, I could show y'all the gory pictures of the wound on my feet, but it ain't really necessary. You know. Oh, you were talking to Omian. Okay, Jamil was talking to Omian. All right. So anyway, here's my room here on Facebook. I got a room here, and oh, the source of the one. Um, when I was driving out here from Kansas City to California, I put a water shoe on my foot to keep my foot from sliding off of the clutch. And I got out to California, and I ended up melting the skin on my heel. I melted it. I mean, literally melted the skin right off of my heel. And ever since then, like 4 or 5 years now, it's taken. At first, it got healed, and then I started walking on it again, and then I opened it right back up, and then it healed again. I started walking on it again too soon, and it opened right back up again. And then it they it's ever since then I stayed off of my foot. But as you get older, it's harder for your body to heal, and so it's only just now after 4 years beginning to close up again. And even when it closes up, I'm gonna wait a long, long time before I start walking again. So the source was something stupid I did, putting that water shoe on my foot to keep my foot from sliding off the clutch coming out to California. So that's how I got there. And then let me see, Omian says, oh, wheatgrass powder? Oh, okay. I'll check it out. I heard about that too. I heard about sea moss. Yeah, the herbs of the ground, man. The herbs of the ground. And the American Medical Association, that's the last thing I think they want people to find out. The natural root of things, the herbs, the ground, the medicine, the good of the land, the Bible calls it, you know. Hey, Jamil, when it comes to knowledge about what the body, believe me, I'm really a PhD. You know, I mean, I know it all. I know it all, man. You know, but you know, I appreciate you saying that though. But now I am getting results, and that's why I'm sharing it because I know there are other people too who in the same situation I'm in, and I'm a skeptic, man. I believe that I'm the sickest of all men, and if something worked for me, it's definitely got to work for you. Definitely got to work for you. So, all right. Thanks, Jamia. So, anyway, here my room here. My room, have a room here on Facebook where I have to admit, man, like I was saying earlier, there's an imbalance in the world. I do got a problem with it. And one thing that I'm sensitive to is when you see that there are people in this reality and they don't have enough, they have food insecurities, meaning they need a helping hand. I'm telling you, man, I can certainly, you know, I can be contacted to help out. I can be. And so here's my information here, Julie Ann Morlock Food Ministry. I certainly can be contacted, man. I will do it. And I also beg you, brethren, to do it too. Be on the lookout for these people because they out there, you know. Here's my room on Facebook where I like to share things. Here's the Wednesday Bible study. We have the Wednesday Bible study. And I think that it's beginning to pick up now. I think that the events of the world is going to drive people. I think people are going to get driven to the OAHPSE. I'm telling you, man, the OAHPSE, you know, there's a lot of voices out there talking about esoterical type of things, and you know, it just don't compare. It just don't compare. I mean, a lot of the knowledge is like head knowledge. It's head knowledge. It might tickle your ears. But I think that the creator, he's driving people to something that you can really feel it, where you don't have to worry about the mystery of the afterlife, of where do you go, what will happen. My brother was just telling me about coworker lost her mom just recently. And that's one of the things that you faith is you can step in, man, with words of comfort and life. I'm convinced you can step in, man. I mean, I've done it a couple of times where that word comes out, man. They share with you and they lost somebody. You could step right in there, man, you know, and you can give words and just let the creator, just let him start use, just open yourself up to the creator to, to use you, to say what is appropriate at the time, to say what is needed to be said. And I'm telling you, that has happened to me. That happens to me a lot. When you get in a situation and you need some words, and you will get them to minister to somebody, because that's his will, you know, to speak to the comfort, to the care of our brothers and sisters, to say a word to heal. I know the scripture says something like a comforting word is like, uh, let me see, a word spoken in time is, oh, you know, you get my drift. You know what I mean? Your ability to say something to somebody, a timely word, and that's like balm for the soul, you know? So here's my room. Yeah, I hear you, Mahalia. Yeah, believe me, I know everything known to man when it comes to, people, brethren trying to help me. But I think that I'm doing okay now. I think the Creator is having mercy on me, and it's like my wounds are really vanishing now, and I'm almost afraid to start rehab. You know, I was just sharing with my brother today. I live in an area where there's a lot of temptation, and I kind of like the Creator put me in a situation where I can't rip and run and get involved in all kinds of temptation. Because I live in a prime area for temptation, and personally, I can do without it. But it's always there, man. It's always that the call of the jungle is never far away when you're in being next to a world class city like I am. Call of the jungle is always at your doorstep, man. Begging you to come and you know give the world a visit. Anyway, my room where I like to share, read the OAHPSE and then share. I like to share from whatever books I think have an anointing on them. You know what I mean? And then things that they are easily agreed upon and that glorify the Creator. I just love to do that. And so this is my room, and this is, just to share some things that I have found recently. And I got to say it again, man. I got to say it again because, you know, I, oh, the thing I was sharing with you, brethren, about AI. Oh man, I'm telling you, I wish I had words to tell you. I hope you, brethren, do it. I hope you do it, man. So that you will bless your soul. I mean, the Creator, He showed me a new way, a way quicker way to upload the OAHPSE, a really faster way to make a file out of it and then to feed it into AI, and then it'll jumble it all up and then give you an answer. The only thing stopping you is your own brain. That's the only thing stopping you. And so I'm begging you, brethren, man, to get knowledge because it tastes good. Boy, oh boy. Knowledge, it just tastes so good, man. Not to use it to beat people up with, but to bless your own soul. I mean, the only problem with it on my end, and I think it's just a temporary, it's just a, in the beginning, you're all excited about everything and, you really, real, excited and, you know, enthusiasm. And I hope it don't wear off as time goes on, the desire to learn. Sometimes I even wonder if the creator can keep it up so far as keep seems like he can just keep blessing you, you know, keep blessing you with his word. So anyway, here's something. Let me see. Omi says eye horns, white and yellow? Question mark. Like the physical characteristics. Now, let me see. Let me. If I start, I want to go to the scriptures, and I was doing a study on it. So let me show you in the OAHPSE. It should be eye hens. Okay. Okay. You know what? I think you're. Let me think about it for a second. Yeah. No, wait. Let me think. Well, let me see. Let me go to the OAHPSE. Let me see if I can find that study. Let me see. Now, but if that's true, and you probably are right, it's another good, like I always say also, that you have to be careful what they give you. You got to be careful what they give you. You have to, because the information, because one time I was studying it and it came out with something about the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So it's not perfect, man. It's not perfect. So let me do a word study real quick and see what color the eye hens were. I think you're right, though. They were white and yellow. And so let's see. Um, no, I know something's wrong here because it won't even bring up anything. I know something's wrong there. It won't even bring up the eye hens, and I'm in the OAHPSE. And it didn't post let me see, it didn't give me a reference to go to. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let's look at the. Okay, bear with me a second because I want to go to what Omian is talking about here. Give me 1 second. I know it's going to say that they were. That the eye hens were white and yellow. I think I'm saying that I think if you that the it could be very possible that the AI made a mistake. So let me check it out real quick. Now I'm doing a little word search here to look for that verse. Now I'm looking at the eye hands. Make it bigger. Hey, Omi, um you got a verse for that? And then that'll save me from, see, there are 272 mentions. I can't spend all that time trying to find out the verse where it talks about the color of the eye hens. Where is that at? Because I'm looking for it right now. Okay, here it says, and we read later in the OAHPSE of eye hens who were black or brown or red or copper. In fact, they were all colors. So it says here in the footnote that the eye hens who were black or brown or red or copper, in fact, they were of all colors. But I do remember where it said it said that, I forget, that somebody was white and yellow. That's what I was looking for. Oh, you know what? All I got to do is just do a word search on white and yellow. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, white, white, and yellow. Now, let's see. Who was white and yellow? Who was white and yellow? Now, see here, it says the eye hens were white and yellow, but the drooks were brown and black. It said the eye hens were small and slender, but the drooks were tall and stout. And so, what we just got finished reading, so there's something that's got to be fleshed out here because we just got finished reading the footnote. It said that they were black, and here it says they were white and yellow, you know. So that's got to be now, that's, another can of worms that they got to be looked at. It says here they were white and yellow. Let's go to the other tab. Yeah, I think I clicked off of it. I probably did. Yeah, I clicked off of it. Well, see, now we got something, and now you can see where the OAHPSE, it says it's not perfect. You know, it says, but the sacred people, the Ahens, and the carnivorous people, the drooks, remained on the earth. The Ahens were white and yellow, but the drooks were brown and black. The Ahens were small and slender, but the drooks were tall and stout. So the drooks are two people. Now, I don't think personally it's talking about modern day white people, black people. That I don't think that, because I seen a picture of someone that looked like a Negro, but they looked white and yellow. You know what I mean? So I don't really make a thing of color anyway. I mean, it's important if it's mentioned in the OAHPSE, and we should be able to answer it. And so it looks like I kind of stumbled upon something here that I'm going to look at. It described the eye hens as black, tall, and stout. you know, it talks about the eye hens were white and yellow. But I can harmonize it though, because like I said, I saw pictures of, you would say they were Negroes because of their nose, the shape of their nose, and their full lips. Yet they were white. It's like, you ever seen a person with vitiligo? My niece has that. You know what I mean? It's got that yellowish white look. But he wasn't talking about that anyway. He said the eye hens, he said white and yellow eye horns. He was talking about not the eye hens, but he said it should be eye hens that were white and yellow. And so here we read, yeah, they were white and yellow. And the drooks were brown and black. And the eye hens were small and slender, but the drooks were tall and stout. And so, yeah, you make a good point, Omian. But it says that they were also, a matter of fact, this right here on this page. Eye hens were black or brown or red or copper, and they were in fact of all colors. But then right over here, we read the eye hens were white and yellow. so, so here it says one thing, eye hens were white and yellow. And then over here it says the eye hens were black, brown, or red, or copper. So which is it? So like I said, I just the way I harmonize it is again like when you see like there are people say like if you see like Negroes with vitiligo, they look white and yellow. And so, but I don't know why the different descriptions here. As we read later in the OAHPSE, eye hens who were black or brown or red or copper. In fact, they were of all colors. And so I don't know if the identity of the Ihuans is even mentioned in this way. I don't even know. I haven't seen it. So anyway, let me get back. Let me get back to where I was. That's kind of interesting though. It says here the Ihuans and gods differ in various aspects. I think I asked the AI, what is it a difference between Ihuans and gods? Let me see. Jamia says, where do you read it was Ihuans? Well, I guess she's talking to you, Omia. So physical character. This is something I asked the OI. What is the difference? Because I got it came to my attention about the Gans. I don't know if I'd ever heard of them before. The Gans, they're a group of people, and they seem to sound like Faithists. The Gans. You know, I did a little word study on them. Very interesting group of people, the Gans. They sound like Faithists. Oh, you're asking me, Jamia? Where did you read it was Ihuans? I think you have to expound on what, I mean, where did you read it was Ihuans? We'll read what? That the Ihuans were white and yellow? I never said that. That was Omia. I was showing this verse, what I have on the screen right now. Omia said he was questioning Ihuans being white and yellow because it says here physical characteristics of the Ihuans were white and yellow, small and slender. And Omia said it should be eye hens. Now I agree with Omia. It should be eye hens. And I think this is where AI dropped the ball, is saying the Ihuans were white and yellow. But I agree with Omia. It should be eye hens. You know, fortunately, it doesn't really do any damage to, anything. You know, what color they are, don't even really matter. I mean, but it's good to, if the OAHPSE mentions it, then we should know it. Yeah, I read this from AI. What I'm showing you here, that's why I'm saying, you, if you get AI, I have Adobe, and then you make a file. You can just sit there and ask that thing a billion questions, and it don't get everything right. Like I've been trying to say. Now, Omia pointed out a good example here. The physical characteristics of the Ihuans, it should be Ihens. Let's see what else we got here. It says the origins of the Ihuans, first race of man on earth. Now, see, I think I even see something here because Asu is the first race of man on earth, if I'm not mistaken. Asu. It says the Gans, later creation by Jehovah following the days of Ihuans. Now, I know that's right. I saw that. Now, Asu and Ihuans, that's another thing that it should be looked at. You say, Jamia says, Ihuans can be white and yellow too, just like you can if you have a white and yellow parent. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so the characteristics of Ihuans, they had a higher grade of spirituality and intelligence. The Gans had a lower grade of spirituality and intelligence. Now, this could be anybody, is what I'm saying. That's where I'm coming from. And then the roles of the Ihuans and Gans is that they were tasked with teaching and guiding Gans in spiritual, or the roles of the Ihuans were tasked with teaching. And see, the Gans came later on, from what I can understand. They came later on after the Ihuans. It says they were tasked with teaching and guiding Gans in spiritual matters. And Gans were meant to learn from Ihuans and receive guidance and progress under their leadership towards spiritual growth. So we did a little word study on the Gans, and they were also, the Gans were also promised to inherit the earth. The Gans. We could look at some verses on the Gans. I was looking at them. How much you want to bet I clicked off on them? Yep. Clicked off on them. That's all right. Just bring up another word search real quick. If y'all want to look at some verses on the Gans real quick. The Gans. See what the OAHPSE has to say about them. It was an interesting little study. The Gans. Have y'all looked at much at the Gans? You want to see some things that it says about the Gans? Let's make the screen bigger. All right. Make sure I'm sharing it. Make sure I'm sharing the screen. Hold on 1 second. Let's share the screen. Now, this is a little study that I did on the Gans. It's kind of interesting, too. It says, then the Lord sent Ihin priests to circumcise the new race, the Gan. And he commanded the Gans to marry among themselves, promising to give the whole world into their keeping. And the Gans began to wear clothes like the Ihins. And the latter gave them rites and ceremonies and taught them how to pray and dance before Jehovah. Look at another verse. Saying the Gans begin to wear clothes. Okay, read that. It says, God said, in 12,400 years, the Ihin race, the mound builders, will come to an end. And at that time, the Gans will have triumphed over all the lands and waters of the earth. Now, that's interesting. It says that they will triumph over all the lands and waters of the earth. I wonder if that could possibly mean British colonialism. Anybody think the same thing? Is that a possibility? Or it depends on the thing that I am unsure about is the time period. The time period. It don't necessarily have to be referring to this day, does it? Our present day. It says God said, in 12,400 years, the Ihin race, the mound builders, will come to an end. And at that time, the Gans will have triumphed over all the lands and waters of the earth. So, hey, Omian, if you're listening, you got any understanding on this? Do you have any understanding on this verse right here? The time period that this is talking about? AI is the police now on OAHPSE? I don't know. I don't think AI is always got to be suspect. I think that it's useful. It depends on what it's used for. I think that in this situation, if we're familiar with the OAHPSE, if we have some knowledge about it, it will save us from deception. I mean, the main deception is the beast kingdom. And then we have the spiritual that will give us it will help us to, yeah, I know the IHN race ended, but I don't think that I wouldn't make an enemy out of AI in this respect just yet. I mean, I know that it's gonna be used for corruption purposes, like stealing from people, playing the market and trying to pad your pocket. I know that. But I think that where it benefits you to be able to learn something that you know something about, I think it's an incredible help, personally. But I'm asking you if you have any overstanding on this verse right here as to the GANs and the time period. You say the GANs race made it with Drooks to come up with a new race, the mongrels. Okay. The GANs made it with mongrels. Okay. I'm sure I'll probably come across that then. So it's from then, whenever the GANs were established, till now, then, is what you're saying, right? Here's another verse. It says, God said, as in ancient times, man named all things according to their own spoken words and sounds uttered. So in the days of Thor, the written words of everything on earth and in heaven came to the GANs. Let's look at some more verses. It says, in these days, the lands of Japheth, Shem, and Ham were inhabited by millions of ihons and GANs. Matter of fact, ihons are the byproduct of ihens and is it ihens and asu? The ihons? Aren't they the byproduct of ihens and asu? Oh, okay. You have the timeline. Is it the ihons are byproducts of the ihons are byproducts of the ihens and the asu, right? Ihens and asu, and now the ihons and the drooks produce GANs. Am I saying that right? Yeah, ihens and drook. Oh, the ihens and drooks, not ihens and asu. Okay. Okay, ihens and the drooks produce asu, and who did asu? Who who did they produce? Ihens and drooks. Ihens and asu produce the drooks. Okay, ihens and asu produce the drooks, and then the drooks and who's the other side of the ihon? Okay, my email is Israelite94 at yahoo.com. Israelite94 at yahoo.com. Here it is on the screen right here that I'm ready to show you. You see it on the screen, Omia? Up top there? Okay. On your Facebook? All right. So, okay, so we got the ihens, we got asu, they produce the drugs, right? So now we got the GANs. So the GANs must come from the drooks. And who am I missing? Who am I missing? The drooks and blank produce the GANs. Okay, maybe it don't matter for right now. I'm just trying to look at the GANs. They're a group of people, and they seem to point to modern day faith. This is what I'm trying to say. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I overstand it. So let's look at some more. Let me see. Am I even showing my screen here? Okay. I'm looking at some verses on the GANs because they seem to be talking about modern day faithists. GANs are actually, now that I think about it, there is a difference between the I hens and the GANs. Well, we just read it. The GANs learn from the I hens. The GANs, they learn from the I hens. The GANs are promised to inherit the earth. But they seem to be a rebellious sort of people too, though. Let's look at some more verses. The GANs, the GANs, the GANs. It says, then God spoke to the people of Japheth, saying, behold, there are two other countries inhabited by kin of your kin, flesh of your flesh, and they are GANs also. They also speak and write with panic words, even as you do. Let's look at some more verses. It says, but the Lord your God created the new race, the GANs, and they are capable of upward inspiration. He says, and he gave to them the same commandments to preserve their seed from the races beneath them, lest they go down in darkness also. Okay, let's look at some more verses. It says, O Osiris, Jovi's son, and you gods and goddesses, as the all-light gave voice to our far-seeing God of Laotzen, so do I stand here to corroborate in Jehovah's name the day of sweet persuasion to the earthborn and their countless angels down in darkness is done. Lo, the race of GANs, planned by Jehovah from the foundation of the world. It says, now stands triumphant on the earth, as Jehovah led the I hens and passed fortuitous by gentle words and love, but left them not strong before the warring elements. So he has created upon the earth the masters who shall subdue it to the triumph of God. So when that happened, I don't know. Did that ever happen? The GANs, he said that they would be able to subdue the earth and to try and to the triumph of gods. I don't know. When did they ever conquer? If that's symbolic of faithists, the GANs, I know the I hens and GANs are different because the I hens had greater spirituality. The GANs had a lower form of spirituality, but they were capable of upward inspiration, it said. Okay, Jimmy, I hens equal GANs. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at another verse. It says, not like lambs are the GANs, but lions untamed, born conquerors with seed. The footnote on that word seed is potential, capability, susceptibility. It says, to learn and reason about all things, not like lambs are the GANs, but lions untamed, born conquerors with seed, to learn and to reason about all things, faith and mastery, but not faith in Jehovah. Uh-oh, what is this saying? It says, as a man having two sons, one low, strong, and passionate, the other in ceaseless mischief and desire for havoc. So we got one son who's lazy. We got another son who's lawless. It says, because of the fullness within, so on the earth stand the two races. The I hens, okay, so they're likened as low, strong, and passionless. And the GANs, who are pictured as like lawless type of people. So this is interesting here. The GANs, they turning out to be an interesting little study here. It says, and when they die, they enter heaven. The first, the I hens, go like lambs as they are directed. But the second, the GANs, still full of inherent stubbornness and self-will, do not heed the gods and lords, but mock them. Back to the earth, these well-formed and stately souls come, set up heavenly kingdoms of their own in darkness, and eagerly pursue the most relentless zeal their former enemies. So we got a little dilemma here. These people don't sound like faithists. The GANs, they don't sound like faithists to me, so let's keep reading. Let's see a little more. It says, by their loud clamor and inspiring acts, they break up the weak Lord's kingdoms, deprive them of their subjects, proclaiming heaven and earth free to all, so that even hapless souls in the lower heaven have been persuaded to fly from the hospitals and nurseries back to mortals, and there fasten themselves as fetals, shutting their eyes against all further light. And so this is interesting here because the OAHPSE, it seems to say, well, it does talk about exclusivity. It talks about the faithless as the children, the chosen, the race, the sons and daughters. But I don't see how it's prohibited from anybody else. I think he's talking more about those who have been given the ability to be faithless. Is that what he's saying here? I think that's what he's saying. See, Jamia says, when thinking of Gans, think about people of the day. Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I was saying, could they possibly represent the British Empire when it talks about them subduing the earth, like we read earlier? These Gans are an interesting little study here. The Gans. Who are the Gans, man? It says, by their loud clamor and inspiring acts, they break up the weak Lord's kingdom, deprive them of subjects, proclaiming heaven and earth free to all, so that even hapless souls in the lower heaven have been persuaded to fly from the hospitals and nurseries back to the mortals, and there fasten themselves to fetal, shutting their eyes against all further light. Now, you think about this. In Atmospheria, there are nurses in hospitals. There are nurseries in hospitals. So this could be like a spiritual thing too, where they leave Atmospheria, come back to Earth, to mortals, to be a part of the influence under the Gans. It says basically the Gans, they wreck kingdoms, they steal souls, they persuade them to, it says, back to mortals, they fasten themselves as fetals. So this sounds like a spiritual thing. A spiritual, like they have like a spiritual influence as well as the earthly influence. The Gans, man, the Gans. Let's read a little more. It says, not like lambs are the Gans, but lions untamed, born conquerors with seed. Read that. And when they die, they enter heaven at first. They enter heaven. The first, the eye hens go like lambs, and they are directed. Okay, so we read this. And then it says, still full of inherent stubbornness. Okay, we read that. Let's look at another verse. It says, Osiris said in written words, I will set down explicit laws for these unruly false gods. Oh, now we got something. Check this out. It says the Gans are the unruly false gods. Oh. How do you like that? How do you like that? Osiris said in written words, I will set down explicit laws. These are unruly false gods, the Gans, and give them bondage like the people of other worlds. If only they had received discipline before instead of sweet persuasion. How do you like that? These are unruly gods. So let me go back and look at my room. Let's look at what I posted there to see what. It says the Ihuans and Gans differ. Okay. In various aspects. The physical, the origin, the characteristics. It says the Gans were lower grade of spirituality and intelligence. Oh, that sounds like false gods to me. It says their roles are the Ihuans are tasked with teaching and guiding Gans in spiritual matters. Gans meant to learn from Ihuans, receive guidance and progress under their leadership towards spiritual growth. Okay. Let's look at a couple more verses on the Gans. It's pretty interesting. I could share my screen. I didn't mean to do this. What I'm doing now, this little study here, it's only because Omi pointed that out that I'm doing this. So let's keep looking at this stuff. With the eye hands, we have little to accomplish. Osiris said, with the eye hands, we have little to accomplish. But as to the Gans, now the Gans are no longer here. See, that's the thing. The Gans are no longer here. Let me see. I mean, no, the eye hands. I meant to say the eye hands. Osiris said, with the eye hands, we have little accomplished, but as to the Gans and the eye ones, they shall be converted into disbelievers of the presence of all spirits, except two, Jehovah and Satan. To accomplish this, I will give them 3 figures times. Okay, so that's something else. Let's look at a couple of more. It says, when these things are accomplished, you shall inspire the Ihuans and Gans to go to the I. So this had to be back in history, because the Ihuans they're not around anymore. So this has got to be historical. These were historical. Well, they were unruly gods, though. These were unruly gods. When these things are accomplished, you shall inspire the Ihuans and Gans to go to the Ihans and ask to be circumcised to Jehovah. And the Ihans, also being under inspiration, will confess them and bestow them with the signs. So this is interesting. I didn't mean to go into this study, but it's interesting because it seems that they were under the Ihans. The Ihans aren't around anymore. So it had to be back in ancient times, but they were described as unruly gods. So it's like there are people who conquer the earth. There are unruly gods. These are things the OAHPSE is saying. It says they go to the Ihans to be circumcised to Jehovah. So it's like kind of like they turn around. So the picture I'm getting is that these Gans, they were fallen. They repented. That's the best I can understand of the Gans right now. Does anybody? What do you brethren feel? Who the Gans exactly? Who are the Gans? Who would you say the Gans are? Spiritual or physical? It says, and all the heavens of the earth were thus organized anew under Osiris, being accomplished in 3 years, and Osiris spent the remainder of Don in Vibraj, perfecting it as the central kingdom of Atmospheria. And lastly, he decreed the appointment of 10,000 lords to dwell on the earth, some in the temples of worship or at oracles, and some within the cities of the Gans. And he decreed for his lords as follows. And then there's some laws here. So let me look at another verse. It says, for I'm not laying the foundation for spiritual knowledge on earth. That must come after. Where Jehovah first gave man a corporal life and then a spiritual life, so am I now laying a foundation for a new race. Gans, with corporeal intelligence and corporal judgment on the earth. For from their kin shall spring the heirs of Cosmin. Listen to this. Who shall embrace both corporal and spiritual knowledge. That's us. So it sounds like we come from the Gans. Thetis. Gans. They have corporal intelligence, corporal judgment on the earth. It says their kin shall spring from their kin. The Gans shall spring the heirs of Cosmin, who shall embrace both corporal and spiritual knowledge. How do you like that? Let me see. I hadn't been looking at the chat. Let me try to catch up before I go into the reading of the word. Oh, my goodness. I'm so late for the reading of the word. I am so late. Jimmy says, when I did my calculations a while ago, I got that the GANs are 56% earthly DNA and 44% heavenly DNA. Okay. A mixture. It's interesting. They say the Cosmin here, Faithus, they come from GANs. They say that we are their kin. And from them spring the hearers of Cosmin, who shall embrace corporal and spiritual knowledge. Let me see. Julian says, we are the product of the Ihorns and the Gans. Yeah, that's what it's saying here. Man, I want to keep looking at the Gans, man. They're really interesting. It says, let's see here. Footnote, the 10 tribes of Gans got lost, and now we see these become the start of shepherd kings. So now we got to look at the shepherd kings. I don't have time to do that right now. So now the shepherd kings, who are they? Let's see. What else can we see here? And the Lord sent the Gans to travel in search of his people. And lo and behold, 10 tribes of the Lord's people were lost in the wilderness. And this was the country of Parthians, and that land was filled with wild goats, from which came the name land of goats. Okay, let's look at another verse. It says, God said, in the time of Osiris, your Lord provided for the light and knowledge that had been with the Ihans to be merged into the new races, the Gans and Ihorns. How do you like that? It said, this foundation was laid by the Lord and his angels. It said, before this time, the Ihans could not inspire the barbarians to make leather and cloth, nor could they inspire them to industries of any kind in the ways of virtue and peace. The Lord provided the inhabitants of the earth with oracle houses in which the Lord could speak face to face with mortals through his angels chosen for this purpose. In this manner, the Lord taught mortals. So it said that God said, in the time of Osiris, your Lord provided for the light and knowledge that had been with the Ihans to be merged into the new races, the Gans and Ihorns. This foundation was laid by the Lord and his angels. Okay, let's look at another verse. It says, from here to the end of OAHPSE, the word Ihorn generally becomes an umbrella term encompassing a continuum consisting of pure Ihorns on one end to pure Gans on the other end, and all types in between. Now, this is a footnote. The Gan end represents an advancing age of humanity. Okay, so we have the Gan on one end, we have the Ihorns on the other, both pure. It says, from here to the end of, so let me read the footnote in the OAHPSE. It says, for the seed of corporal knowledge had taken root in the Ihorn race. They had learned the motions, names, and places of the stars, the moon, and the sun, and from these prophesied the affairs of nations of men. And they duly marked out with maps and charts the destiny of things according to the dates of corporeal births and movements, attributing the highest central cause to the sun. Oh, okay. So they were, their knowledge, they were not worshiping the Ihorn, they were worshiping, they felt that the sun, the stars, let's read it again. The Ihorns, or the seed of corporal knowledge, and the seed of corporal knowledge had taken root in the Ihorn race. It's hard to do this without looking at the context of this. I'm trying to jump in the middle and make sense of the Ihorns and the Gans. You can't really do that. It says, when the seed of corporal knowledge had taken root in the Ihorn race, they had learned the motions, names, and places of the stars. Okay, so they got knowledge, they prophesied the affairs of nations, and they duly marked out, okay, maps, charts, destiny of things. Okay, they had this knowledge, but they attributed it to the sun and the stars. It said they had knowledge of the births and movements and attributing the highest central cause to the sun and the stars and conjunction. Okay, so that's wrong. The Ihuans, their knowledge was a little faulty, sounds like. But the footnote says from here to the end of OAHPSE, the word Ihorn generally becomes an umbrella term encompassing a continuum consisting of pure Ihorns on one end to pure GANs on the other end, and all types in between these two. The GAN end represents the advancing age of humanity. So still more to be, there's more to be fleshed out here. I got on it because Omi made that statement about the verse that I posted in my room, and I went off, and it's interesting, but it's not really the time to, I shouldn't have really tried to dig into it as much as I did. It's an interesting study, though. It's really interesting. I'd like to know exactly who they are. It sounds like we are descended from GANs. It sounds like faith has come from GANs. That we come from the GANs. It sounds like we are going to recover the knowledge of the Ihans and what they taught in the Cosmic era. It sounds like the GANs are descended from, that the Faithists are descended from these people. Sounds like it's what it's saying. So anyway, that's what I was sharing in my room about the Ihans and the GANs and their mention, and I wanted to know what the difference between the two of them is. So I'm late for the reading, late. So let's go to the reading. I wanted to do the reading on the Lord's fifth. Was it chapter 4? I think it was chapter 5. See, not Esra. I think it was, let's see, what was it? The Lord's fifth? I'm way late for that. Matter of fact, I clicked off. Oh, no, here it is. All right, shoot, man. I apologize, brethren. I got started digging into that study, and it's easy to go off when it's hard to stay focused sometimes. You read the OAHPSE, you get the learning comes so fast and furious. And I'm late for the reading, man. Way late. Okay, so let me try to catch up. All right, may the Heavenly Father bless the reading of His Word. This is the book of the Lord's fifth book, chapter 4. And interesting, it talks about the Ihans. Very interesting. Right where we left off. It says, God said, I preserved the Ihan race. And I think I was going to start in chapter 5, but that's okay. Let's do chapter 4. It says, God said, I preserved the Ihan race to be without evil. As the foundation, make the wording bigger. God said, I preserved the Ihan race to be without evil as the foundation of my life, from whom I could reach forth to the tribes of darkness. For I foreordained not to go within darkness to battle it, but to stand outside it, give an example of righteousness, the Ihan for man to look upon. Well, let's read the footnote. Set beforehand as strategy predetermined. So Creator knew that man was going to fall off, but He was going to leave him an example. That was the Ihans. He says, and I planned from the beginning that my chosen would labor through examples of cities and kingdoms of righteousness. He says, the evil men and the evil priests who are subjects to Satan and his hosts remain in evil. It says, preaching righteousness without a city or kingdom of example, but my chosen go away by themselves and build their cities as a testimony of their faith in the Father. Now, that's an interesting thing, because when I read this, it's like, I don't see that happening right now. Us going into our own cities. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons. What do you, brethren, think about this verse here? It says that they go, his chosen, they go away by themselves and build. We're not doing that right now, are we? The city somehow referred to us individually. He says, but my chosen go away. I mean, I know I've read about the attempts of Shalem, John Newborough, trying to start a city, and that there are some that I think fellowships probably scattered in the world, but it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like anything prominent. He said, but my chosen go away by themselves and build their cities as a testimony of their faith in the Father. So I don't exactly know how to apply that. Verse 12, that is with the world's people. It says the evil is the world's people, it says here in the footnote. But my chosen go away by themselves and build their cities as a testimony of their faith in the Father. What does that mean? Anybody have any idea on that? It says, verse 5, and they practice the fullness of my commandments in their lives toward one another. Okay, that's true. To him who says, this is mine, I have not spoken. To him who says, my house, my lands, I have not spoken. Now, you know that that's talking about, really, it's talking about everybody. It's talking about the spirit in the world today. It says, for inasmuch as these things belong to them, such men belong to such things and not to me. How do you like that? How your possessions, you don't own them, they own you. He said, to illustrate this truth, I raised up separate from the world's people the eye hands, who were my living examples of righteousness. He said, do not think, however, that the eye hands were the perfection of manhood and womanhood. They were not a developed race, nor righteous because of their own knowledge. He said, by the constant presence of my exalted angels, they were obsessed to righteousness, being restrained away from evil. They were my servant before the tribes of droogs and cannibals that covered the earth over by virtue of signs and miracles and by non-resistance. I preserved them. So we have the eye hands, non-resistant. They were obsessed by the angels, the righteousness. That's how they were restrained from evil. And they were the living witnesses before the droogs and cannibals, just like faithists are in the world today. It's the same thing as back then is today. He said, for man of himself evolves only to power and evil. And for this reason, O man, you shall discern my dominion over the races of men to work righteousness and goodwill. See what the footnote says. It says, you're going to recognize and make out clearly. You're going to behold. You're going to detect my dominion over the races of men. It says, for man of himself evolves only to power and evil. And for this reason, O man, you shall discern my dominion over the races of men to work righteousness and goodwill. In other words, you're going to learn a lesson. All your attempts to govern yourself, it's not going to work. It's going to fail. But my people, they're going to show you. Let me see. Mahali says, yeah, I'm with you. I think that the Gans are probably an ancient people. I could be wrong. It sounds like if they were around in the time of the eye hens, I don't know. I got to look at it some more. That's going to be really interesting. I'm going to dig into that, study the GANs. Let's see. Jimmy says, I see many international communities, not 100%, OAHPSE based, but aspects of faithists. Aspects of faithists. That's a key word, I guess. Yeah, I think that I see that too, now that I think about it. I mean, you know, I don't know if the monasteries will qualify. You know what I mean? The places also where the monks where they live. I don't know if that qualifies. But yeah, I think that there are societies that they are based on OAHPSE principles, mainly doing right by one another, serving one another. I think that, yeah, I can subscribe to that. That's a good point now to think about it, Jamia. I see a danger of like we just have our own strict guidelines about faith. That's something to be aware of, I think. I think it's more widespread. Well, I'll just speak for myself. Oh, not. I think that faiths are more widespread. Really, they might be under different names. I remember where the creator he said that people who operate according to my principles, he said they're his people. They're his people. They may not even know they faiths. From what I recall reading that. So it sounds to me that it's more important how you deal with other brethren, your outlook, your fruits, how you deal, how you your attitude towards uh, really anyone is what really matters. It sounds like to me. It seems like I look around, I see a lot of people with good hearts. And they might not know anything about the OAHPSE. And the creator says they're mine too. He said, verse 12, and my examples reached into the souls of the barbarians, so that in future ages I could prepare them to hear my voice and comprehend my commandments. I mean, you think about it, and that's a product of Western civilization, I think. It seems like we got this mindset where we love to be special, just me, my crew, we are the only ones. It's like, I know there's a word for that. I can't think of it right now, but it seems like we live in a reality where people, they make a big deal out of being exclusive to a fault instead of inclusive is the problem that I see. I really think that's the problem, man. I see I have to fight hard not to fall into that mindset. You tend to want to think that you're special, but I don't see that in the OAHPSE. I don't see where he allows that. I think he looks down on that. It says, verse 13, for it is the fullness of light among men when without my presence or the presence of my host, they shall understand virtue and knowledge, practicing them of their own accord, in which time men shall perceive that righteousness, peace, and love toward one another are the foundation of happiness of the spirit, the only light of its resurrection. See? Simple. Even children know that lesson. Even little children, man. I mean, now you can see why Jesus Christ said in the Bible, unless you become as a little child, you shall not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Unless you become as a little child, man. I even saw a video. Has anybody ever seen that video where there was two little kids, right? They probably were like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, and the parents sat them at a table, and they put a cup and a saucer with a cookie hidden in one of the sets. It was hidden in one of the sets. There were two boys, and they gave both of them a saucer and a cup. Turned the cup over to hide the cookie within, right? Now, only one set, it was two of them, only one set had the cookie in it, right? They set them both down. They put the cup and the saucer in front of them. And naturally, they're going to lift up the cup to see what's, the curiosity, right? Well, they both opened up the cups. And then one kid didn't have a cookie, right? Y'all probably saw that video. And the other kid, I guess it was his brother, he had a cookie, right? And don't you know that I'm 4 or 5 years old, man. One brother, the brother who had the cookie, he looked at his brother and saw he didn't have a cookie. And the brother who didn't have a cookie looked at his brother with the cookie, right? And the one who had the cookie gave his cookie to his brother. He gave the cookie to his brother, man. At an age where, you didn't have to, you know what I mean? They don't have to be told, man, what is good and right. It's only when you get older that you got to be reminded over and over and over and over again what's right, because we've been polluted. And here we are learning these lessons, man, that we should have. Why are we learning this again? Everybody knows, Wow, man. Verse 14, the Lord said, do not think that I came to one nation alone. See, that's why looking at the Ihwans and the Gans, and, we can't really, whether it is talking about white people and literally yellow people, and, it still don't make no difference, man. It still don't make no difference. Because the Creator, he says that all people, it's not one nation alone. So we don't even really have to struggle with that, what color somebody was. And I saw a video where the brothers was debating somebody, and some sister, she was making fun of the OAHPSE, and but black people, they lived under the ground. She was mocking the OAHPSE. And so people, they get stagnated because of color. Get stagnated. Get stagnated in the first resurrection, second resurrection. Get stagnated, man. It's a powerful aphrodisiac, man. Nationalism, that's equal to trying to break out of a steel cage, man. And when you get that in your blood, brother, God help you in order to break free of that. The Lord said, do not think that I came for one nation alone, leaving others in their darkness. I did not come to one alone, but to all divisions of the earth. I held my hand over them according to what was required for them according to the times. And they accomplished that which was designed from the beginning. It says the will of Jehovah is not for man to be forever led. Because lo, his Lord says, but for man to be, let me read that right. It says the will of Jehovah is not for man to be forever led. Because lo, his Lord says, but for man to ultimately have the light of practicing good works organically from infancy up. You know that? We shouldn't have to do it because we're told. It should happen naturally. And we lost it. We lost it, man. Materialism. Remember we read the first verse? Whoever says, mine, 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 I have not spoken unto him. You have to learn that behavior. Mine, mine, mine. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Wow, man. That's a terrible shame. It's a terrible shame. It says, the Lord said, a teacher who does all things for his pupil also sacrifices his pupil. He who teaches his pupil wrongly sins against the Father. He who teaches his pupil not at all is accessory to evil. In this light, the Lord your God stands over all the children of men. So nobody got no excuse. Ain't no excuse, man. The Lord, he don't leave Creator, don't leave no middle ground. We're going to all be beneficial to one another, whether you like it or not. You're going to do your share. I'm going to do my share. And then that way, that's how we experience the highest, that's the Ethereal realm. That's the Orion realm or fields or whatever the OAHPSE talked about. They work together, man, and they just you read about them all the time, singing and praising and dancing, and you know, like it's in verse 17. Behold, I've demonstrated that my chosen can maintain themselves unharmed among barbarians. Also, that by unrestrained marriages, a sacred people is quickly lost among barbarians. Sacred because unrestrained marriages. Look, unrestrained. Wow, man. Unrestrained. You know, what exactly does that mean, man? I'd like to know. Let's look at it. Let's see what the internet says. Oh, yeah, there was a law, wasn't there? Where a black man, he couldn't marry a white woman at one point. They made a law, Congress did, here in America. Okay, it doesn't look like I'm going to find anything. Forced marriage. Marriage, man, that's a Libra thing. You Libras, marriage, that's your thing, man. Partnerships, because of your ability to compromise, you have to compromise in a marriage, man. Partnership, you got to. Oh, I wasn't even sharing the tab. I was looking at this right here. That's a Libra thing. The Creator has charged you Libras with the vibration of marriage and partnerships. It's a beautiful thing, man. You know, it's a beautiful thing. You know, everybody's got a gift. It says, behold, I've demonstrated that my chosen can maintain themselves unharmed among barbarians. Also, that by unrestrained marriages, a sacred people is quickly lost among barbarians. That's a terrible shame, man. Quickly lost. You marry any old kind of, oh, gotta share the tab. Forgot to share the tab. Good thing Dave ain't here. You tear me up, man. Make sure that let's see. Okay, there we go. And that's some unrestrained marriages in this country. Yeah, I mean, but exactly what is an unrestrained? Somebody answer that in the chat for me. I'm gonna start calling on the chat, man. I'm gonna start calling on you, brethren. Somebody tell me, what is an unrestrained marriage in your own words? Who can tell me what an unrestrained marriage is? I mean, we all got our ideas. Somebody tell me, what is an unrestrained marriage? I'm going to keep reading, but I want somebody to tell me. Tell me what you think it is. What is an unrestrained marriage? It says, verse 18, for a man witnessing terrible conflicts would rather have sons of strong limbs and arms and crafty minds to do abundant murderous work, from which condition he has no incentive to rise in gentleness and love for the glory of the Spirit. Yep, that's true. You know, that's an amazing thing. For a man witnessing terrible conflicts would rather have sons of strong limbs and arms and crafty minds to do abundant murderous work, from which condition he has no incentive to rise in gentleness and love for the glory of the Spirit. Yeah, that's the world. That is the world, because we glorify beast kingdom attributes. Beast kingdom attributes. That is so true, man. That is so true. Men witnessing terrible conflicts would rather have sons in the world he lives in. You see, his world is a violent world. And so he values having children that can deal with the violent man eats man world. Dog eats dog. So you want your children to be able to dog eat dog. Yeah, unrestrained is freedom to marry who you want, but there's something more to that, Jamia, that seems to be in my mind. It's like when I think unrestrained marriages, it's like a marriage where neither one has like values. They don't have the character to be married. They don't have the wherewithal. It's like more like lust. Now, I mean, I don't know every marriage, but I think I'm old enough to see a little of what is in people's hearts when they want to get together. And certainly, you don't hear a lot about spiritual values being number one. You know what I mean? I mean, you're right. It's freedom to marry who you want, unrestrained marriages. But I think that when the creator says it, to me, that's just me speaking. It sounds seem like to me that it's like, you know, how like in the previous the older days that parents would, from what I hear, they would match children. They would put them together. And I think that's because they have a deeper understanding of, they have a more mature aspect of, you know, some important things in a relationship. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's one of those questions. You can't go wrong, but I think, you know, it's deep. It's real deep. Unrestrained marriages. And then it says, for man witnessing terrible conflicts would rather have sons of strong limbs and arms and crafty minds to do abundant murderous work, the OAHPSE says, from which condition he has no incentive to rise in gentleness and love for the glory of the Spirit. And it's just like today, man. You know, the world, we live in a world where they value beastly attributes. You know, it's like MMA fighting, bare knuckle fight. You know, you got a bunch of people cheering, two guys trying to beat the hell out of each other. You know, you got like an interesting thing that trips me out. It's like you look at sports teams. Yeah, Mahalia, she said she looked it up and it says unconstrained, not thoughtless. Be clear where you stand with each partner at any given time. Communicate that with them in a loving and caring. See, I mean, you know, I think a lot of marriages. Well, you know what? Let me do something real quick. Let's check because I got something in my mind now. I want to see something. What is the average age to be married? 28.4 years for women and 30.2 years for men. Now, if you look at the values when you're around that age, that's like the going out time, the clubbing time. I mean, biologically, you only got a window, you know, and you got to kind of move quick, you know, if you want to raise a family. And so you can't wait until you've been around the block a lot of times. But I think that's where society steps in and they warp people's values. And so people may look for the wrong things in a person, maybe like materialism, certainly not spirituality as a prerequisite for getting together. You know what I mean? So I think what I'm saying is that there's, you know, and we live in a type of society. We're like an oversexed. I think that's the right word. Let me see. Jamia says not restrained. Yeah. That's not controlled, not confined, not hindered. Yeah, licentious, loose. And see, that's where society come in, man. You know, all kinds of loose. Our values. You know, I don't have to get into the weeds. You brother know what I'm talking about. The value, American values. You know, we value. We're oversexed. You know what I mean? Where where I remember my mom telling me that in Africa, a woman could walk around with her bare breast, and men don't get all flipped out. You know, she told me that once. She said, "They, how, why, you know, where did that stop? You know, you know what I mean? Where, how in this country you get a woman, you'll make a man bust out of prison to get at her." And from what I can understand is programming, programming, right? See, unrestrained values, man. Unrestrained. Wow, man. The creator said, unrestrained marriage. All right, now let me try to find my way back to where I was. Let me see. Where was I? Where was I? I clicked off of the page I was on. Let's see. Where was I? Was I? No, that's not it. See, I clicked off of it, man. That's where I got to stop doing that. Gotta stop that. It's very frustrating. Shoot. All right, bear with me, brother. I went and clicked off of it, and uh, doggone it. Now I got to go all the way back. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, thank you, Creator. All right, so anyway, I went off there for, let me get back. It says, verse 18, for man witnessing terrible conflicts would rather have sons of strong limbs and arms, crafty minds, do abundant murderous work. You know what? I was talking about sports, man. We value beastly attributes, and we teach the children get taught the same thing. And one thing that came to my mind, it's like you look at the football teams, right? And they all got Beast Kingdom names. They got Beast Kingdom names. Matter of fact, the Bible even says that. The Bible even, you know what? Let's look at it. Let's see. Mahalia says, because they don't look at breasts as sexual, they were for the babies. Yeah, I don't know. But my mom, she said that they don't get all flipped out over a woman's breast. It's just in this country, from what I heard her say. Now, I think that's changed. I think that's changed. I think that they've been projected. I think the way a woman has been projected has put a vibration on taking advantage of men's biological makeup for the purpose of profit. See, it's just like in the garden. It said Adam and Eve, they were naked and they were not ashamed. They were not ashamed. But somehow that got changed, that vibration. You know what I mean? It got turned around. I was going to go to that Bible verse where it says that men they glorified four-footed animals and creeping things. And it goes along with this verse right here where we glorify the beastly nature. That's true. That's really value. And it trickles down to young women. It trickled down. Daryl! All right, brother. All right. It's good to see you, man. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing good, brother. Just remember, anytime, man, anytime that you want to, let me go ahead and drop the link. And so, you got, you got carte blanche in this channel, man. Anytime, you want to pull rank, you just go right ahead. Let me go ahead and put the link in there. I'm about finished with the reading of the video anyway. But it's good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. We needed you earlier. we were talking about the GANs and the IHWANs, and I came across the GANs, and I thought it was interesting. Brother Omian, he found a mistake that the AI had made. We got off looking into the GANs and the IHWANs, and trying to figure out who the GANs were, and turned into an interesting little study. I wasn't ready for it, but I did a little word search on it, trying to figure them out. But anyway, let me close it up real quick, and I'll open it up in case anybody want to come on and have a word or anything. So let me see. Let me do it. Let me. How far do I have to go to the end? Okay, not long. So let me go ahead and finish it. All right. So it says, verse 19, so that I, your Lord, could show future generations first that without my hand in the work, no good nor peace could come among men. Yes, that is the truth. Boy, that's the truth. Boy, that is the truth. It says, the second, that only by race of thy hands, as examples of my power through signs and miracles, could the barbarians be reached for their own good. And I think that's going to happen. I think the Creator's going to do that again. That's the only way we're going to legislate the human heart, man. They got to see a group of people loving one another. We don't call nothing our own. Ain't got no king over us yet. Nobody is doing without. That's the only way, man, you're going to get people off of money. Get them off of money. Get them off of liquor. Get them off of drugs. Get them off of, corruption. You got to love it, man. You got to love the Creator. You got to love His way. When they see us doing for one another, forget about it when we start talking about angel visitation and then proving it to the world, or making inanimate objects dance, like it's saying in OAHPSE. Oh, yeah, the kingdom's going to come, man. Forget about it. Verse 20, not only did I leave the ruins of my cities, which had no gates of entrance, and houses without doors of entrance, so that you would have testimony of the race of eye hands. He said, but I have shown you that only by such procedure could the barbarians be induced to higher evolution. But basically, nothing, no gates of entrance, houses without doors. Ain't no need to close them. These are things mainly for protection. Creator saying he does this so that he can show the barbarians that there's a higher way, higher evolution. A way you don't have to be all defensive minded all the time like in this world. The first thing a guy do when he's 21 is buy a gun. That's the first thing a guy reach for whenever it's a unsure situation. First thing, reach for the gun. A leaf on a tree shake, you reach for his rifle. First thing, man. Do not think, oh man, that I did not foresee the time when men would question whether the Great Spirit ever placed a Lord over the earth, and that man would say, behold, there is no Lord, no God. For I foresaw these times and provided angels to go in advance to show first the evolution of the races of men from out of the lowest darkness, and second, that the cause of the evolution came from the Great Spirit and was directed to righteousness, but would not have been so except for the Lord your God. For I left sufficient tribes to this day who dwell in darkness, even cannibals, as a testimony that of themselves they possess nothing to cause a desire for evolution into knowledge, peace, industry, love, and good works to one another. Will man not say one people is raised up in consequence of the presence of their neighbor without a Lord or God and the angels of heaven? Now behold, I have left savages at your door, and you do not raise them up, but destroy them, showing you that even your wisest, most learned have no power in resurrection. How do you like that, man? All our best efforts, all our best efforts, only as strong as a burning twig. What does the Bible call it? Uh, a smoldering wick. Neither have I left any way open for the resurrection of barbarians except by examples of faithists who shall practice righteousness and miracles. Let's read the footnote real quick. It says miracle here likely means proof of the spirit world, and especially of the dominion of Jehovah and his heavens. But more generally, a miracle may refer to the fortuitous circumstances or results which often attend the course of good works. It says, and there shall rise up in those who will do these things because of their success, and they shall also be a testimony of the Ihen race, in whom I laid the foundation of the redemption of the whole earth. And that will conclude the reading of this word. And man, oh man, what a word, what a word, what a word, man. What a word. So we basically learned a few things in the reading today. Basically going to, like, Creator pointing to the character of men. Telling you, man, you can't make it. You can't make it, man. You know? You can't make it, man. You know? All right, man. Anybody want to share anything? I wrote click on the link. I'm gonna keep going for a couple minutes here, and then before I let go. So yeah, man, I can't get over, man, how that dude came up. Now, the reading is over with, so I'm gonna go into just what topics come to my mind, and I I know, one thing I find myself thinking about is how I keep thinking of that Prime Minister Netanyahu, and how I just firmly believe he's been set up, man. I mean, he's been set up spiritually to bring us to really teach us a lesson. I think his purpose is to really teach us a lesson. I think that the Creator is really setting up this world for Cosmin to really teach us a lesson and to desire righteousness. I have been listening to accounts of the type of weapons, and the OAHPSE, you say don't something about an evil report, so I'm not going to do it. But my basic point is that, brethren, we in an impossible time. It's an impossible time, and it's obvious that we get further and further away. Is there any subject anybody, does anybody want to touch on any subject? Just put it in the chat before I close the video. You want me to touch on something? Do you want to touch on something? Something that you want to share? Anything? Let me see. Mahali says a condition in a contract or other disposition intended to prevent someone from marrying. Oh, you talk about unrestrained marriages? A condition in a they got pre-nuptial agreements. Pre-nuptial agreements, man. It's just like what the OAHPSE said, what we read. Remember? Let me go back to it. Look at what the Creator said, man. Will you look at what the Creator said? Where is it? I lost it, didn't I? Remember the part we read where he said they say mine, mine, mine. And he said that people who say such things, he said they don't belong to me. He said it, didn't he? We read it. Look, I'm looking for it right now. Where is it? Right here somewhere. Look here. To him who says, will you look at this? This is mine. He says, to him who says, this is mine. I have not, to him who says, this is mine, I have not spoken. Creator saying, I haven't spoken to him. You got that attitude? You got that mindset? He said, to him who says, my house, my lands, I have not spoken. Isn't that something? Isn't that something, man? You know? And that's all that where we live is. That's all where we live is. It's like mine, you know. I mean, that's low hanging fruit. Everybody sees that. But it's a terrible shame though. You know what I mean? All right, man. Shoot. Well, that's the best I can do for right now. That's a great study. I think I'll probably pick up tomorrow in the same book, read go into chapter 5 and 6. So, man, oh man, oh man. All right, well, shoot, man, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, brethren. Thanks for joining me. I want to thank the Creator for this opportunity to be a light while I'm in this reality, for your word, the opportunity we all have, especially as we see the conclusion of the kingdom of man drawing to a fast conclusion. Fast conclusion. And so pray that Creator have mercy and help us, protect us, cover us, give us peace, love, light, wisdom, and let us go into our own communities and be a light to the world. Let us do that immediately. Immediately. All right. So, brethren, until I see you again, thank you for joining me. Lord willing, see you tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And until then, shalom.